Good morning. Happy Friday and welcome to Lee Health's Healthcare Heroes Self-Care Moment. I'm Nicole Traum, and today you can see I have a little bit of a different setup. I'm down on the floor, so if you are sitting in a chair and you want to get down on your floor, you're going to need a yoga mat, and you don't have to sit on your yoga mat. You can keep it rolled up, or you can have a blanket or a combination of two. But we're going to do some really nice self-care today. We've been talking all this week about being loved, accepting that love, tapping into that inner love. And I'm here to remind you that you are so loved. I had to wear the shirt today because why not, right? Because this is what the reminder is from this practice of mindfulness. So let's just start with a couple of deep breaths. Now I am sitting on my knees, but you can sit on your seat. You can still sit in your chair for this part. But you want to think about lengthening up and sitting up nice and tall so that you get a nice curve in your low back. You feel that support from the low back, and even start to pull your belly in a little so that you feel a little bit of a connection. And then from there, what we'll have is our hips nice and steady on the earth. Then we'll stack up our heart so you can roll your shoulders back, feel yourself lining up, and then move your ears back just a little bit, just to bring your head back in line with your heart and your hips. So a lot of us have been on our phones or our computers a lot, and there's a term for this in our bodies, how it kind of manifests. It's called tech neck. So you might be like, you feel like this, right? Your head is kind of moving forward. So you want to just slide those ears back a little so that you can feel a little more comfortable in your body. And let's just start with a couple of deep breaths here. We're going to inhale the arms up and overhead, reaching up tall, and then exhaling those arms down. So create some space here. Inhale, lengthening up, and then exhaling as you lower back down. That's it. Big inhale, big exhale. Reminding ourselves of that self-love, giving ourselves a little self-care this morning in the way that we move, in the way that we breathe. That's it. Good. Let's do 2 more rounds. So just big inhale, reaching up and overhead. Exhaling as you bring your arms back down. Good. Last one. Good. And now this next inhale, we're going to reach our arms up and overhead. And exhale your right hand down. And then you can press into the floor. Reach up with your left hand and then press down with your left hip, your left seat. Feel that nice big stretch there into the side body. Roll your shoulder back, open your chest, open your heart. Good. And then we'll reach across and just stretch across the body. So you can inhale and open your chest, lean back. Good. Exhale as you reach forward. Perfect. Big inhale here and big exhale. Just stretching through the side body, creating a little space. We're going to come at the end and do some meditation, and I want to make sure that we feel really steady, really comfortable in our skin. So just stretch things out nice and slow. Inhale and exhale. Let's do 1 more round here. So lifting that arm up, and as you come forward, you can just start to reach and reach, stretching through the side body, through the back body. Good. And then come all the way back up. Roll your shoulders onto your back. Inhale your arms up and overhead. And then exhale your left hand down, reach your right arm up and over. So just stretching up through the side body here. Feel your side body stretch, that whole right side body. Your right hip is pressing down. You're leaning over a little bit more. Let's take another deep breath here. That's it. Good. And then stretch your arm up and to the right, and then exhale, reach it across into the left. So just big inhale, leaning back. Good. Exhale as you reach forward, opening that chest, and then bringing it back across. Keep going here. Let's do 3 more. Inhale and exhale, stretching through the back of your shoulder, through your side body. Perfect. And then this last one, as you come forward, just start to stay there and reach and reach. So just stretching across your side body all the way up through the back of the shoulder. Good. For 3, 2, and 1. Good. And as you come out, you can roll your shoulders onto your back. Good. Just bringing some movement in there as you breathe, as you connect. All right. So now we're going to do, the whole reason that we're on the floor today is so we can do something called calf mashing. A lot of people have been telling me that since the quarantine, they either started running, or a lot of people actually started walking or walking more. So when we're walking, right, what happens is if we're not stretching out those muscles, they start to get kind of tight and they start to feel really uncomfortable. So what we want to do is we want to bring in some massage into our calves. And it's okay to do it with your thumbs too, but this is a really easy way to do it, and there's lots of options for this. So what I like to do is take a yoga mat. So if you have one mat, just use that mat. You can put a blanket down for your knees. But we're going to use the mat because it's nice and squishy, and it gives a little bit. And especially if you have sensitive knees, I know a lot of my students have a lot of like knee issues. This is actually really great because it creates space behind your knees so that you can release any tension there. It starts to stretch the other muscles out, and it also works on the calves and the back of the thighs, your hamstrings. All right, so I'm gonna show you here. I'm gonna scoot back. All right, let me move my cushion out of the way. So you can kneel on a blanket or on another mat. And what we'll do is we're gonna come forward here and take that rolled up mat or blanket and bring it as far back behind your knees as you can and start to come and sit back. Now, this is kind of tight for me. So if it's too tight for you, you can lean forward, and if you have blocks or maybe you just bring a little chair in front of you, you can lean into it and just start to shift your weight back towards your hips. And then the hard part is breathing. So let yourself breathe here. Feel that nice slow inhale and that nice slow exhale. And if you can, you're gonna start to roll yourself side to side. So just keeping that weight there. Maybe you're sitting upright as you do this, or maybe you're leaning forward. And it's called calf mashing for a reason. You're gonna feel that mat kind of pressing through the back of your calves. It's gonna press the muscles onto the bones of your calves, onto your leg muscles, onto your shins, and then your hamstrings back onto your thighs. So just feeling that, good. And then we're gonna come on up and just bring it back just a little bit. So now that it's right at that really meaty part of your calf. And again, if you come into this and it's really hard to breathe, lean forward, shift your weight forward a little bit, or you can come more upright. Do what works best for you here, and then just start to rock side to side. So for me, my right calf, it's a little bit tighter. Who knows why, right? But I note that because maybe I need to work on it a little bit more later. But allowing this is just allowing ourselves to stretch, to release. We don't always realize how much tension we're holding in our bodies. So just moving those hips side to side, that's it. And then this last one, we're gonna come forward and now just bring that mat or your blanket right behind your ankles. So this is gonna stretch the front of the feet or the top of the feet. So again, you might need to lean forward either onto the blocks or onto the floor, or bring a chair over, and then sit for a second, let yourself breathe. Remember that you can always come back and watch these videos later too. So if you're like, oh, I don't have that stuff, come back and watch it a little bit later. It gets posted right after we record it. So coming now side to side, just rocking side to side, feeling those muscles stretching, especially the front of the leg and the front of the ankle. So if you've been walking a lot, this is probably pretty tender, it's probably pretty tight, and this is something you can do every couple of days, right? Allowing yourself to create a little space. It's like giving yourself a massage, right? We're putting pressure, we're pressing muscle towards bone, so it's also very calming to the nervous system. It's like giving yourself a hug. All right, let's do 2 more rocks to the sides. That's it. And now as we come out, we're gonna stretch it out. And as you come out of this, you're gonna notice this like warm rush. And that is blood coming back to those places that we just put pressure on. And that also means we're bringing healing, okay? So as you come forward, very gently come forward. You can move the mat out of your way, move your props. And then from there, just take your right leg back, tuck your toes, and press out through your heel. Again, you're gonna feel that warm rush. You're gonna feel a stretch to the back of the leg. Good, take another 2 breaths here. That's it, good, and then we'll switch sides. So you're gonna bring your left leg back, just press out through your heel here, lengthening as you stretch, good. One more time to each side, so just taking that right leg back, stretching it back, lengthening, maybe breathing a little bit deeper, good, and then left leg, just pressing back through that heel, good. And then we're gonna come back and take a seat. So if you wanna come back to your chair, you can come back to your chair here. If you're sitting on the floor, I do suggest that you take a blanket or a cushion so that you can sit up on it. And as you sit up on it, it's going to lift the back of your hips, and it's going to allow the front of those hips, those hip flexors, to start to soften a little bit. And that's really important for a couple of reasons. One, it just makes our body feel better. It keeps our posture upright. It helps us to not sit like this. But number two, it also helps to signal to our nervous system that it's okay to relax a little bit, right? So you feel that support, we're in that right alignment, so then everything starts to work together to support us. So now as you sit tall, you can bring your hands to your knees and sit up and just start to roll your shoulders onto your back. So today what we're going to talk about in our meditation is this idea of blue sky. There's a theory or an explanation of meditation that goes like this, that our meditation is like the sky, right? Ultimately, there is a blue sky there. And I was thinking of this morning because yesterday morning I went for my run, and basically when I go out, it's like navy blue outside, right? And then as I come around my loop, as I'm coming back, the sun starts to come up. And yesterday there were all these clouds out. We knew it was kind of like rainy here yesterday. And it turned to like cotton candy pink and light blue. It was really beautiful. And I took a photo of it with a palm tree because I'm obsessed with like the silhouette of palm trees. And then this morning on my run, it was navy blue when I went out, but there were no clouds. So as I came back, it was still this just kind of still really clear sky and just really beautiful. And I thought to myself, wow, it's so interesting the difference from one day to the other. And I was immediately reminded of this whole idea of blue sky meditation. So thinking about when we turn within, our mind is like the sky. So let's just do a little bit more movement here just to make sure you can sit comfortably and go around in those circles. But sometimes when we turn within, right, sometimes it is clear, right? A lot of times it's not, but we know that there is that clearness there, especially here in Florida, right? So sometimes it'll rain on one side of my house and the other side of the house it'll be sunny. Because we know that those clouds, they're very transient. Right? They're here one minute, they're gone the next. Same thing with our thoughts, right? They come in and then they leave, right? But sometimes we get so caught up in that one cloud that's there that it's really hard to remember that there is that blue sky above. So as we turn within and we do our meditation today, you're going to notice those thoughts come up, but think of them as clouds. You're going to acknowledge them. You can even watch them start to go by. And maybe through just being with those thoughts, you'll be able to kind of soften and find those little bits of clearing. And that's really what that practice of meditation is all about. Finding those little places where you get to find the clearing, find that steadiness. And that just reconnects us back to that love. So as you take your comfortable seat here, sit up tall, roll your shoulders onto your back, and close your eyes. And just start with your breath. So you can inhale and exhale, filling up with your breath, and then emptying back out. You can start to notice the sounds around you. Notice if they're far or if they're a little bit more close. Even start to notice now the sound of your breath, just bringing yourself in. Noticing that inhale and the exhale. Good. And then begin here to just start to notice the sensation in your body. Notice if you feel warm or if you feel cool. The way the air feels on your skin. Even notice the way that your clothing feels on your body. The floor feels underneath you. And as you come back to your breath now, just begin to notice the sensation of your breath, the coolness of the air as it moves in through your nose, and the warmth of that breath as it moves back out. Inhaling and exhaling. And with your eyes closed, you can just start to notice now those thoughts that come up. And imagine them like little clouds. And sometimes they're light and fluffy clouds, and sometimes they're kind of like those really thick storm clouds. But they're part of that sky. They're part of our being. In our meditation practice, we seek to just find some peace even on the cloudy days. And that way, when we have those moments of clarity, we really can celebrate them. We can really recognize them. And still trust that even on those cloudiest of days, those most heavy of days, whether it's in our hearts or in our minds, that there is still that steadiness there, deep within. So just continue with your breath here, noticing those clouds as they float up, as they float by, as they obscure the sunlight, or maybe they let it peek through. And as you breathe, just feel yourself start to soften. Let your shoulders relax. Release your jaw. Release your hips. Just notice. Let yourself be. Remember that there is that blue sky there, regardless. And just as we talked about earlier in the week, right now, you're worthy of connecting to that. You're worthy of that love, of that peace, of that steadiness, that you are enough. So we'll take a few more rounds of breath here. And if you're really feeling the vibe right now, just turn the video off and just go with it. And if you're ready and you have stuff to do, you can start to deepen your breath. And wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Start to come back to the room. You can stretch out your arms, maybe stretch out your legs, move your head. Good. And as you come back now, just bring your hands back in front of your heart. We honor this practice of being able to connect with our body, with our breath, with our hearts, with each other. And so I bow to you. I bow to all of our healthcare heroes still out there working. Thank you for all that you do. And we bow to each other today. Namaste. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back on Monday at 6:40 a.m. Hope you have a great week. You can come back and watch this whenever you want. This is a really great stretch, especially if you're feeling that tightness in your legs. Maybe you're doing a lot more walking. Make sure you're stretching. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. So thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.